G'day, I'm Stephen Page from Page Pro and Family and Fertility Lawyers, and this video is one of a series of videos of 10 lessons I've learnt since my first surrogacy case in 1988. 1988 may be before you were born. I'm a bit older than others, but it is what it is. And since then, as best I can estimate it, I've advised in 1,968 surrogacy journeys. So a lot. And my clients have come from every part of Australia and at last count 38 countries overseas. So this video is video number 5 and it's Anonymity is Dead. Well, if you're dealing with a surrogate, it'll be pretty rare that you will have not know who the surrogate is. The only places where I see that happen are where it's happening underground, where the doctors are not supposed to do it. It's against the law for the doctors to do it, but they still do surrogacy. And I'm thinking of China in particular. But everywhere else, the intended parents should know who the surrogate is, should have the name of the surrogate and be able to identify them and hopefully have a relationship with them. This is about egg and sperm donation. That if you rely on an egg donor or you rely on a sperm donor, you might be told that the donation is anonymous. Now, the first bit of advice I give to clients is you should not be having an anonymous donor, because the child needs to know where they've come from, and therefore you either have a known donor or what Americans call an open identity donor, namely when the child turns, say, 18, they can find out who the donor is. Within Australia, all donation must be either known or, as the Americans would call it, open identity, and the age varies from less than 16 with maturity in the ACT to 16 in Queensland and everywhere else 18. But leaving that aside, what if, for whatever reason, you choose a donor who's anonymous? Well, in reality, anonymity is dead now. It's just absolutely dead and buried. And why? Well, it's the relentless rise of technology. And there are two forms that apply. The first is picture scraping. Almost all of us have pictures of myself on social media, and here's a classic example. I'm doing a video, you've got a video of me on social media. As soon as we put that up, then a search engine can find you. Now, if you want to experiment for yourself, and I've done this, get a picture of yourself, load it up into Google. It's what's called a Google reverse image search, and Google is just one example of it, and see if you can find yourself. Now, I had a photo of myself in a suit. I was rather disconcerted that one of the photos was clearly me and clearly identified it was me, and others identified me as various preachers in churches, probably because I'm in a suit and I'm looking rather formal. But nevertheless, there was a picture, it was clearly me. And so I was able to be found. The other way is the rise of the relentless rise of the databases. And in this case, it's Ancestry.com and 23andMe.com. And there are others, but these are the two most prominent. I have lost count of the number of times where I've been told by a client, I was a donor back then when it was anonymous. And guess what? They have found me. And I've said, okay, they find you because they saw you on social media or the child on social media and they therefore identified the two. That's happened. There's been stories about that. So that's another way that social media has changed lives. You can identify the donor through that connection. Or was it through leakage from the clinic, most unlikely, of information to identify who you were? No. The most likely way was from Ancestry.com, 23andMe.com, and one of the examples was telling. My brother's son was very much a black sheep of the family, and doesn't look like his dad at all, and everyone else is well behaved in the family except him. So off he went and did a DNA test through Ancestry.com, and guess what? The child born through my sperm donation was then able to find me. And it turns out, of course, the brother's son was in fact the brother's son. So those databases mean, in effect, and the technologies with social media and with picture scraping anonymity is dead. It's only a question of time before you can find the identity of the donor. That's one of the lessons I've learnt. Thanks for listening and watching. I'm Stephen Page from Page Proven Family and Fertility Lawyers.